Welcome to race number 15 out of 26 in the Modern Stock Car Cup Tour. We are here from the West Coast in sunny Las Vegas, the home of the gambling capital of the world and the fastest way to lose your money without betting in the MSCCT. From Las Vegas Motor Speedway, people usually don't have too kind of a liking towards cookie-cutter racetracks like Las Vegas, being the 1.5-mile intermediate circuit. You can see here, you got your it's a regular old track. It's just like Kansas or Kentucky or anything along those lines. But on the front row, we have Santiago Alvarez with Bradley Rhyme, 2 Dodges in the front, followed by the second row, which is both Toyotas, the third row, which is both Fords, and then in 9th, we just throw in a Pontiac, because why not? So, in our first real cookie cutter of the season, we're about to get underway in race number 15. Let's listen to the driver command.
Drivers, start your engines!
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we have 42 cars in this lovely field from wonderful Las Vegas, Nevada. Let's begin in the Caesars 400. Let's take a look from the starting lineup. Row 1, we have Santiago Alvarez and Bradley Rhyme. Row 2, Chase Buck and Creek. Row 3, we have Gary Northorpe and Korab. Row 4, we have Dan Wilson and Doug Doring. Row 5, we have Brian Row 6, we have Stephanie Larson and Vincent Crook. Row 7, we have Benjamin Dover and Christian Kamala. Row 8, we have Noel Hamilton and Isabel II. Row 9, we have Alejo Iavino and Wolf. Row 10, we have Jay Mon and Paris Khalil. Row 11, we have Jacob Thibodeau and Jay Bird. Row 12, we have Brady Wilmington and Kyle Driscoll. Row 13, we have Patrick Starr and Nick Collins. Row 14, we have Lee Aguilar and Row 15, we have James Taylor and we have Bryce Erlacher and Greg Shepard. Row 17, we have Carl McKinney and Stuart Bennett. Row 18, we have Lee Driscoll and William Wilson. Row 19, we have Nelson Reed. Row 20, we have William Westmoreland and John Buckford. And in row 21, we have Arnold Salvador, who crashed in qualifying and had to go to the rear of the field, and Ethan Mitchell, who also crashed in qualifying. In the restart zone, we begin the Caesars 400 in Las Vegas Speedway. Starting to lose some spots. Remember, for this 40-car team, you see them at the front. They finished last at Watkins Glen. Stellar performances once they their first race being Darlington back in race 4. This is their 9th race of the season, and they've been getting closer and closer to the front of the field. I saw the caution flag, but I am incorrect. I think it's because the track is so yellow that just you automatically assume that it's out at all times. Just grabbing line. Northorpe running in 4th. He is, one of the, he went into the season like he was going to be a mid-pack racer, but now he's not. He's had 10 top 10s this season. His average finish, he's either, and he only has one win already. Bristol and Talladega, just 2 races apart, and Doug Doring, who won Pocono and Texas the first half of the season. They both in Charlotte and their same races, and now they are both in spot if they are able to capitalize and and what could be the Champions Lottery. I think one of the guys who could make it would be Chase Buck. He won at Atlanta and almost won at Phoenix. I falsely said he won, and I just was messing up a slip of the tongue. But with the 19 of Chase Buck, he's all Buck Racing. They have good equipment. They know what they're doing. They know how to handle a race car. And when it finally came time for Buck to go to Atlanta, that was a great win since he passed with a few laps to go. He had to defend off some lap traffic. It was a perfect scenario for that. It was a perfect scenario for them. And, you know, when you take a look at all three of their cars, well, 3 out of their 4 cars, they also have the 55 Luis Aguilar, who was winning. But the 19 won he won at Martinsville in basically a blowout. He won by over 6 seconds. And then also you see situations like with Doug Gold, who's won 2 races. 4 cars and 4 wins over 15 races. Similar can be said for Wilkins Racing. The owner of that team, like Doug Goring for that position. But Dan Wilkins Racing really put themselves on the map. Not only did the 16 of Santiago Alvarez win the final pole for Daytona 500, he won the Dan Wilkins out of the 100 laps. He took the lead on the lap and he was able to hold on to Jay Bird, who, you know, I think after Jay Bird's stellar first year, he finished 8th in points, but didn't get a single win. That 15 car of Jay Bird still the MSCCT technically the second longest tenured driver in and so far all 15. He started every race, but he's really been falling. Really mid-pack, even sometimes in the back of the pack for most of the time in this season. And you have to wonder, will he ever get that first win? I think it would be much more likely if he were to do that on a super speedway. I think if he were able to pull it off on Daytona or Talladega, there's only one more real super speedway race remaining in the season, at least for the Cup level. That would be the Daytona race, the last regular season race for the 2nd annual Champions Lottery. But it does make it interesting with what we saw. We saw the 77 go to victory lane. We saw him win there. As looks like we're going to see some action for the lead. Chase Buck on the inside of the 16 of Alvarez. They are side by side. It's like 16 is able to clear 19. But one of the guys who has been most successful for Dan Wilkins Racing this season is Santiago Alvarez, the current race leader after 12 laps in the Caesars 400. You know, Alvarez is one of those guys who never really made too much of an impact in his first season. He's also another long tenured driver in this series, but he ended up actually finishing 2nd in his first ever race in the series. He actually qualified 3rd at Pocono, which was his first ever race. That was the, I believe it was the Comcast 500. I believe that's what it was called at the time. But he had the lead for a few laps, and then he got a little bit loose, and he gave up the lead to Matt Muir. And then Matt Muir gave up the lead on lap 2 to Ben Lloyd, and Ben Lloyd ended up getting his 2nd win of the season at Pocono in that race. And Alvarez just came up short in 2nd. And then he finally got his first win in the series this year at Charlotte in the coveted Coca-Cola 600. You can see they're still battling for the lead. Unfortunately, Chase Buck hasn't really made any moves whatsoever. He's peeked to the inside, and he's looked like he was going to make some moves, but I think that Alvarez and Buck, I think 16 and 19, they are just running 2 different lines. They're running 2 different grooves on the racetrack. So they've been able to make some stuff work, whether it, is practical in nature or not. Side by side again down the back straightaway. The question is, will the 19 be able to pass him? Yeah, it seems like Alvarez and Buck, they're both running about equally well on different grooves. Alvarez likes to take either the middle line or the outside line, and then the 19 just likes to ride the inside line, basically. That seems, each driver has their own preferences, of course. So then you also look at Torab, who's currently running in 7th position. He's actually getting help from his teammates in Torab indicated that wrecked and didn't really finish too well. I don't even think he finished inside the top 25. But for the 07 car, you know, he's really bad way. Winning his first race with that first leave it up, and then the same can be said. Early, he was on he was near the front, and we are going to see some pit stop here. Looks like pretty much the entire field is going to go to pit lane, except for Alejo Iavino and Christian Coppola. They look like they're going to stay out. Interesting situation there, as yeah, basically about all of the field is there, and now Alejo Iavino, in just his second race, he made a video at he's in the lead. But he probably won't be for long, since he will be coming in for pit stops, unless he's just like godlike and has unlimited fuel, which I doubt. Let's see if Alvarez is able to win the race off of pit road, and it looks like I don't know. McKinney's coming up on him, and Alvarez will win the race off of pit lane. Ryan second. Third. And you can see, yeah, all those guys that didn't pit before, they're coming back out on the racetrack. There's still some guys on pit lane. I think it was less emphatic than I thought it would be. I think about half the field pitted and half the field stayed out. Maybe a few more guys pitted, but just not really too much. We're getting word from race control that on lap 30 we will see a competition caution due to really not that many cautions being held in the prior in the prior parts of this race before. Haven't really seen much. Although the 78 of Wade Driscoll is a lap down, although it looks like he might have unlapped himself. Yeah, he did unlap himself. But still, at least it's something better than nothing. And they are scoring Alejo in the 54 as 5th. Now, you might remember that 54 car. You might remember it somewhere. That was actually Aria Carmona's old car when she ran in the Daytona 500, along with a few other races dropping out of the Walt Disney World. Or I believe that was Darlington that she dropped out of, but still. Was pretty impressive and got a top 10 at Daytona. And I think that was mostly because of the fact that a lot of the field was wrecking and, you know, it wasn't really practical, but they were able to rebound as a team. Rebound as a car, now in the 54, they haven't ran a race in a long time. They're back with a new driver, the native of Spain, Alejo Iavino. It's going to be a new future for this team, and even though they didn't do too good at Phoenix last year, they really have an opportunity for redemption here at Las Vegas, especially when it's a track where anything can really happen, because it's a lot about strategy. Because nothing about Las Vegas Motor Speedway is that flattering or is that exciting to watch, you know. If you'd rather watch a race at Las Vegas over Talladega, then I think you're just crazy and insane as hell. But with the fact being that Las Vegas, just like a track like Kentucky, they're one of those tracks that isn't too appealing to a fan. They just, you know, look like a normal oval where you turn around. This is really different, even though they don't have that much in the terms of visuals or in the race format. It's still interesting to see the fact that a lot of it comes down to pit strategy, and a lot of it comes down to what we will see out on the racetrack. So there's Wade Driscoll running in 42nd, Christian Coppola running in 41st. Not too many intense battles, a lot of single file racing, while we haven't really seen any wrecks or cautions. Take a look at David up the second is trying to get a peek in on the inside. Trying to get something going. They're battling for the 18th position. And here's the 24 and 62 of David Iller and Brady Wilmington, respectively. Now 5 laps until the competition caution on lap 30. Let's take a look from the cockpit of the 98 of Darian Armstorff. That's only showing the bottom, what's it called, the bottom, I cannot fix that. I think it's something up to people. Don't know what it is, but I cannot change that. Just like this one race, it's nothing. I'll be quite blunt here. So Bradley Rhyme did make his way back up to second here. That's why I'm doing my best to give you manual scoring stuff, just so that we don't have a issue where people don't know where they are. And after the competition caution, or maybe even during it, we're going to do a cycle through of the field to at least get some knowledge of what could be happening. You know, a lot of battles going on in the back of the pack. Unfortunately, Doug Doran really not today, falling from the top 10 to now 37. Guys like Colin Mitchell, not to be confused with Mitchell Collins, and John Buckford as well. They're all sort of running together, but it's not really that practical. Since everybody's on the lap, here comes Santiago Alvarez off of turn number 4, back to the stripe, and we will take the competition caution, as we'll just input this in the debug here. There we go. So they'll let the caution fly, and they'll race back to the line. Not really too much of a race, if you ask me. And there's Chase Buck in 31st. That's really a shame. So lap 30 of the Caesars 400 from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Santiago Alvarez, your race leader. And I was going to try unplugging and replugging my keyboard back in, because that seems to work. However, the last time I tried to do that was in the All-Star Open. And when I tried to do that, it worked, but my recording stopped and my game crashed. So I'm not going to take any chances, and I'm just going to give you the manual positions. Just like, for some reason it's not even letting me press the S key. Like, it'll let me type. Like, if I go into my debug, it'll show, you know, I'm just typing random nonsense. So my keyboard is obviously working, because I can click stuff, I can go around. Is there anybody staying out on this pit cycle? I think absolutely no one is staying out. Now the question is, are there going to be some drivers who might be less harsh on their tires, who might just be inclined to take 2 tires or just fuel, that could really shake up the game if somebody is able, just like Amelia Nielsen and Watkins Glen, where effective pit strategy caused her to be in the lead for about 3 laps before Patrick Starr took the lead away, and eventually it was Agrista Papageorgis on a white flag pit stop that won the race. One of the most daring moves in, I believe, this league's history. As now, Santiago Alvarez will win the race off of pit road. Everybody else off the pit lane. Bradley Rhymes 2nd, Pre-Game 3rd, Darian Arthur 4th, and then Alejo Iovino in 5th, Nola Hamilton 6th, Jay Mon in 7th, David Iller 8th, Brady Wilmington 9th, and Vincent Cook 12th, Bender and Dover 11th, Ian Korab 12th, Jacob Vito 13th, Isabel 14th, Greg Scheckner 15th, and Stephanie Larson in 16th, Dan Wilkins 17th, Patrick Starr 18th, Winty Wolf 19th, and Timor as your top 20. So really interesting how now it'll be Carl McKinney who will have the wave around and will essentially be in front of the leaders. I know sometimes on these cautions you see lapped cars line up on the side, but remember, those cars are a lap down. This is a wave around, so Carl McKinney will be lining up in front of the leaders at the time that we go green. So in any case, competition caution from the Caesars 400 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It's a thriller, folks. Santiago Alvarez in the lead on lap 33. We are back from the Caesars 400 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the modern stock car cup tour. We have Santiago Alvarez in the race, followed by top 5. Carl McKinney is lining up in 42nd. He got the wave around. We'll see if that plays any sort of influence as to what could be going on the lead lap, since McKinney isn't really that faster of a car. He's not really a fast car at all. But in any case, on lap 35, with 20 laps to go, we will go green from the Caesars 400 once again. The question is McKinney going to give any sort of blockage to Carl? Oh, he just punted the 89. And now that will give the 16 much needed clearance to get past him. But now Bradley will be lining up on the inside of the 16, possibly to make a pass. Alvarez comes down for a block. He's able to clear him. Headed back to the stripe on lap 35. Alvarez, your race leader. You see McKinney trying to fight with the lead lap to give him leverage. Since, I mean, even though he did get a wave around, he got punted out of the way in the first turn by Alvarez and just sort of really didn't make any friends of the 33 Well, my scoreboard just magically fixed itself with 20 to go. Thank you. What happens when we have a 17-year-old with all that? You know, I wonder if we have green flag pit stops, if we have another cycle of green flag pit stops for the remainder of the race. Wonder what that could mean for all these cars. It's time to cycle. Santiago Alvarez, your race leader. We've seen him lead basically every lap. This feels like Pocono in the Comcast 500, where Doug did lead from the get-go and never gave it up. In fact, he had a pretty emphatic lead when the race ended, so I wonder if this could be the case here at Las Vegas. Now, the question is for Alvarez. He's been pretty aggressive on the wheel, and he's also known for not really holding his line. He is known throughout his entire career to make aggressive blocks throughout and possibly, you know, take some guys down. So we'll see how that will play out, but currently running second right behind him is another Dodge. That's Bradley Ryan. In third is Gary Arnsdorf, who is your points leader. So every good finish that Arnsdorf has, while every mediocre or poor finish that the guys behind him in contention do, that really helps Arnsdorf, even if he doesn't win, because he only has one win this year. But even if Arnsdorf keeps finishing well, I'm sure that if he just can't grasp onto victory lane, because, I mean, he won at Walt Disney World basically because of a bad pit stop by the 22. The 22 had a bad pit stop, and it allowed Arnsdorf to come around, take the lead, and he just couldn't get back onto the racetrack in time, and it cleared the way for that victory. And now Walt Disney, that was one of the most boring races I've really ever seen in the history of this league. The 98 was able to take advantage of it, and because he was able to lead the last 20 laps and win the race. So every good finish that he has, it really puts him in a better and better position to win the 2020 Modern Soccer Championship. However, it all means nothing if the Champions Lottery spikes. In fourth is fifth is Creed Daniel, followed by half. Their first race was the first race of second half. They've really been not really much of a factor, except for the fact that most of the drivers from Phoenix are now running in the top. You know, it's almost like Doug Doring, where they enter the lead, it really makes you wonder if that's going to be a trend for a lot of these drivers, like Harvard and these racing along with Molly Fleming. And also, you know, one guy who doesn't really you know, he's done somewhat well. He finished last at Talladega, but that was because he was filling in for a suspended driver. So you have to wonder, his mid-pack racing, is that going to just be a trend throughout his career? Or is that going to be something that he's going to be able to rebound and put himself in later on? But getting back to our cycling through the field segment, we are currently having we have David Iller, Wilmington, Benjamin Dover, two Dan Wilkins racing cars, Jay Monin and Dan Wilkins, Jacob Thibodeau in 10th, Leo Iovino in 11th, Ian Koram in 12th, Vincent Stephanie Larson 15th, Greg Shetner in 17th, and Tim Moore in 18th, Armin Salvador in 19th, Arthur Xavier in 20th, Patrick Starr in 21st, and then Ryan Adamo back in 22nd. Gustav Adolf II in 23rd, Faris Khalil in 24th, Luis Aguilar in 25th, Bryce Durlacher in 26th, and then Chase Buck, who was in second for a long time. He was able to almost get the lead. He was side by side with the leader Alvarez, just a few laps to go, but then he had a bad up and put him back to the William Westmoreland in 28th, and William Nielsen is king in 29th, Kyle Driscoll in 30th, Mitchell Collins in 31st, Griffin Collins in 32nd, Dakota Bennett in 33rd, Joe Boring in 34th, and then we have this pack right behind here, John Buxton in 36th, Jay Berg in 37th, Daniel Boyles in 38th, Nelson Reeves in 39th, Wade Driscoll in 40th, and then Christian Coppola in 41st, and then Carl McKinney, who was a lap down, is in last. So this is a Caesar. You know, people do not like cutters, and I think this is one of the reasons why they don't exactly produce good races or good finishes. It depends on the track, of course. You know, you see tracks like Kansas and Kentucky. You look at Kentucky from that year in the in NASCAR, and you see Cole Custer making a field for the lead, and then he won his first ever race based off of that, as we are going to see some late pit stops. In fact, Alvarez is one of just a few guys going to pit lane. Durlacher shoots across the track to try to make something late happen. Oh my gosh, that is interesting. I don't know if you saw that, guys, but Durlacher is going to serve a penalty here. He immediately tried to slow down. Not only does he end up passing his commitment cone, enters way over the speed limit, so that will be a easy penalty for him, and it might even be an external penalty. So now Chase Buck is coming in. Whoa, 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 we got a crash. Doug Doring's around, they're going to spin behind them. This is going to bring out a caution. This race might end under caution. This is really weird. They just wrecked on pit lane. This race could very well end under caution. This would be the first race since Sonoma in Season 1, 27 races ago, to end under caution. Now the question... Hold on. They're scoring Alvarez as 28. They're scoring Bradley Ryan as leader. This cannot be good. Well, now they're all going around the pace car. Everybody's going around the pace car. They're acting like they're under green. They're like literally acting like they're under green. They're just running around at 160. There we go. So because the caution came out before the actual race ended, or before the white flag was thrown, we will have a 3-lap green-white checkered. So don't let these fool you. We are going to, as the rulebook states, if NR 2003 makes it so that the race ends under caution, because that's an old rule. NASCAR is the green-white checkered. So we are going to utilize, for the first time, our custom green-white checkered. Now, they are scoring Bradley Ryman as a leader. So what we're going to do is, after everything, goes off, and we go on to pit lane, essentially what we're going to do is we're going to stop this recording and then go into another one where we have the green-white checker going on. But what it's going to be, we have this thing called the NR 2003 Save Game Editor. So what I am going to do is I'm going to quickly modify the quote-unquote qualifying results into just the final race tally and do a 3-lap shootout. Because obviously, in a situation like this, where the race leader was Santiago Alvarez, but he had a bad pit stop, and he also pitted early when a caution came out for Doug Doering and Ethan Mitchell. Let's take a look at that crash that had occurred, because I want to take a look at that, because that's what brought out our first true caution. There was a competition caution, but this was a true caution that had expired because of a crash. So what had happened was that it looks like there were some cars slowing down, but then Doering just comes in and he takes out, the 01, then the 41 comes around, and if we take a look here, I want to see when does the caution come out. So if we can see with, I don't know if we can see the flagman. We might not be able to see the flagman. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take away that scoreboard. We're going to see when does the caution come out. Take a look here. You can see they're sort of going back there. And then the caution flag comes out. So do not be fooled. They are scoring Bradley Ryman as the winner. The problem is, this is because this is a 17-year-old game, and, well, they're not designed to have green-white checkers. So what do you do when you have that situation? You make it a green-white checkered yourself. So this is the Caesars 400. We will be right back after this with the green-white checkered utilized for the first time in modern Stock Car Cup Tour history.